All right, you're good to go.
All right, welcome everyone. The first item, as you might have seen in the updated agenda today, was dropped. We were planning to have Angela Denise come and talk to us about some potential solutions when Max Deutsch came to the rescue and has found us an interim solution at PS 150 for the safety situation there. For those of you who weren't here last time, the building is still under construction, and they opened the school without any signage, without a safe passage for the kids. The bus is stopping on Trinity Place. The bus door is on the wrong side. So there were a lot of hurdles to jump the first week of school. And I just want to thank Max at Chris Marte's office again for moving so quickly and finding us a solution in conjunction with NYPD. Rosa, I would like to, since I haven't talked to you in a couple days with the long weekend, do you have any updates for us as to how it's working? Any comments, things that we can advocate for as you watch his plan take shape?
I would say that it definitely feels a lot safer, and I'm so thankful, just to piggyback on what you were saying about the fact that we do now have a traffic enforcement agent, but obviously related to item number one, which didn't happen. We need crossing guards at all of our schools. I'm really thankful that we have one at PS 150 because that intersection is particularly dangerous, but we are not the only school that needs that. So we just need more crossing guards, and precinct 1 didn't get any assigned to them from this last graduating class. So that's one thing. The other thing is that we now have the sidewalk. There were basically two staging areas on either street, one on Edgar and one on Trinity, which were directly beside the entry to the school. And so now the one on Trinity has been turned into a passable sidewalk bridge instead of a staging area. So now people can actually use the sidewalk, which is great, an enormous improvement. Obviously, we would just like it to be finished so that we can use the entirety of the thing. The other thing is at the intersection on the northeast corner of Trinity Place and Edgar. That's where people are naturally crossing, because Edgar Exchange Place is this tiny little sort of like walking alley that everybody basically from the east side uses to get to the school or past the school to the west side. And nobody's, going to cross the street like on the south side and then go cross back north. And it's like, that's just not human nature. So DOT needs to look at that situation. We're told that they cannot look at that situation until the all the scaffolding and the sidewalk bridge comes down, and they do a traffic analysis. So that's where we are with that. We are also trying to get planters. Chris Marte had the amazing suggestion that we would be able to get planters from DOT. So we're hoping to try and get those, and then maybe the kids could like paint it up all cutie as part of their art project or something. So we hope to have those soon because Nico, our principal, is concerned about traffic jumping over the curb once it's actually possible.
Man, it was a pain in the ass.
Bob, we can hear you. Hey, Bob.
Oh, sorry.
That's right. So that's where we are on that. Yeah, I think I don't know. Morton, am I missing anything? Gabby, am I missing anything?
No, Rosa, you pretty much covered. I would just add, I did have an opportunity to speak with one of the construction supervisors from the private apartment construction. His name was, I think, Greg McCoy, and he, I think it's just Ghislaine Construction. Anyway, he said that they anticipate that the scaffolding and the sidewalk bridges will be down by Christmas, for what it's worth, which would open up the whole area and allow the DOT to do the work in terms of the intersection across Trinity Place. And, like Rosa said, they cleared out the front of the school on Trinity Place. So now all the parents can, the dismissal is now everybody lines up on Trinity Place and class by class is dismissed. And it's much safer that way because people are not bunched up at the corner and spilling out into the street. So it's a dramatic improvement since the school opened, and things are getting better all the time. So I think everybody needs to be applauded. Chris Marte's office has been tremendous. Chris has been tremendous, and that's basically where it's at right now.
Oh, one other thing, just to follow up on the bus thing. So we still do not have the bus door thing, and the bus continues to keep dropping off on Trinity rather than going on Edgar. And I don't know how to get them to change their route. And we're still waiting for DOT to give us a few more barricades to close off the west side of Edgar Street so that if anybody's coming south on Greenwich, they don't make that left turn into Edgar and run over all the pedestrians that are now utilizing Edgar.
Okay, good. I just took all these notes, so I'll send a follow-up tonight, Rosa. Thank you and Morton for that update. Appreciate it. Mar, are you with us? I saw her and then I saw her disappear. Can you hear me? Can you see her?
It looks like. Oh wait, she just
Yeah,
popped.
she's here. Can you make her a panelist?
Yes.
Okay, great.
You can unmute, Mar. You have the floor. Mar,
if
you
you're
can
having
go
trouble,
ahead.
Just text me, Mar, if you have any trouble.
She says she called in and can't unmute. What's the unmute code from a phone?
6*6.
There we go. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I am having some, my computer hates WebEx. I just
I know.
can't.
So-
I'm so sorry. Thank you guys so much for having me.
For those of you
Tonight.
you don't know, Mar, she is with CB2 and she is working on the situation down on New Street as it relates to LMC. So we're working in conjunction with her on that situation there. So take it away, Mar. Let us know what's happening.
And thank you so much for your help. And for those of you that don't know, since the beginning of last school year, we have been trying to secure an open street permit for New Street between Beaver and Exchange Place unsuccessful. And there's a long story behind that. But where we are today, a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, we had a site visit. It was attended by the Borough President, Mark Levine, Councilmember Marte, DOT Manhattan Commissioner Ed Pinkar, Sergeant Wingert from NYPD Anti-Terrorism, Captain Smith from the 1st Precinct, representatives from Senator Kavanaugh and Assemblymember News Office, the 1st Precinct Community Council President, Sarah L. Bantanui, and Principal Douglas and myself, and who called the meeting, the site visit. So it was great. We had all of these decision makers on site to really see what the issue was. Of course, it was a quiet morning, of course, but there were a lot of parents on site, and they were very generous to share their stories and their desires for the safety of their children with all of these electeds and our precinct representatives and decision makers. And that really opened the door for us to have a conversation about solutions. So, solutions that are being discussed now and that we are going to submit to all of the parties involved are crossing guards, first and foremost. Crossing guards, one at Beaver, one at Exchange, during arrival, lunch, and dismissal. So whenever there are kids on the street, there should be a crossing guard to help direct traffic. Another option, another mitigation strategy we're thinking of is keeping the AVBs, the active vehicle barriers, up when children are entering and leaving the school during those arrival, lunch, and dismissal hours. We've been doing this actually since last week. The guys in the booth that control the AVBs, who work for the stock exchange, have of their own accord been keeping the AVBs up when the children are leaving and coming into the building, anywhere between 25 minutes to 35 minutes. And it actually has not been an issue. They hold the cars, and the cars don't seem to mind for the most part. But that's just one thing. We need to do a lot of other things. We need heavier enforcement of the illegal sidewalk parking and idling. We need to prohibit parking on New Street. It is a narrow street. There just shouldn't be parking on it at all. We want to designate a school slow zone, and we want signs, fixed messaging about school speed limits and flashing beacons, school days, 7 to 6, you may be paused at times. There's no through traffic, through traffic, a sign for through traffic that you may be paused during these hours over the course of the weekday, right? And a repair of the sinkhole on Exchange Place between Broad and Williams, because that's a big reason traffic has no other choice but to come up New Street. And we also are talking to Manhattan Youth after school. They run our after school to see if we can recruit some of the kids that work there, the individuals that work there, to, am I still on?
Yes.
Okay, because my WebEx on my computer just reloaded. Sorry. So we're trying to recruit.
We've
some
heard
of the
every word.
Great. Manhattan Youth staff to work, because it's only about $15 an hour. And it doesn't make sense for somebody to come from wherever they live to stand on the street for, 50 minutes a day for $15, for $45 a day. It just doesn't make sense. So we are thinking if there are people already in the area, already in the building, it might be good, a college student or somebody else, it might work for them to make an extra $45 a day if they're there already. So we're working on that. We're also going to talk to, the kids, the young people that work at the neighboring fast food stores. Maybe it's something they want to do during their lunch break. So we're trying to figure out strategies. Our principal is working with the first precinct to really help with recruiting. But last Thursday, a car tore down the street at about 60 miles an hour. And we got it on tape, and it was crazy. But, it only cemented our belief that we really need to do this. Oh, and last thing, we issued a survey to our entire school body, parents and caregivers, and they overwhelmingly asked for a full street closure while school is in session. But if we can't do that during lunch, dismissal, and arrival, that's it.
Well, thank you, Mara. I have to say, I'm a little confused because we passed a resolution and we understood that it was going to close at drop-off, I guess with middle schooler, it's, arrival and departure. What happened there? What was the pushback and why didn't that go through?
Well, as you recall, Sergeant Wingert from Anti-Terrorism started showing up at meetings and felt that he had not been involved in the decision making. So the Anti-Terrorism Unit really is control of placement of the active vehicle barriers and the ballards that stop traffic in Lower Manhattan since 9/11. They don't want the street closure. I still can't explain why. They are totally against it, and as is Commissioner Pinkar. He just doesn't see a problem. So at this point, I can't fight it anymore. Our application is still in limbo. The application that you were told and the borough president's office were both told was expected to be approved. I mean, we're going to approve this. As soon as we get it, we're going to approve it. They told everybody this, and then it just didn't happen. So it has still not been denied, but it also has not been approved. I don't think we're going to get the full street closure. So
You weren't looking
Working with
for a
what-
full street closure. You were looking for just arrival for 45 minutes and departure for 45 minutes. And they all seemed amenable to that because the biggest issue was deliveries in the back of those, restaurants and people that needed deliveries that faced out onto Exchange Place. So I'm confused as to why they're pushing back on this. And so I think we'll definitely be giving this to Chris to go and see why Sergeant Wingert, unless there is some sort of a terrorism headquarters there that's on the down low that, we can't know about, but they're going to have to say something that there is a reason why surrounds terrorism that we can't close that street. They're going to have to get specific because otherwise it doesn't make any sense and it's putting kids' lives at risk. My daughter went there and we arrived one day to a demolition truck crushing old drywall with clouds of dust covering the kids as they walked into school. I mean, the problem is that unless you close the street, you're not preventing that scheduling of construction, which there's a lot of back there on New Street, in addition to the traffic. So I really think we need to get them on this. So I appreciate the update, and I am just taking some notes right now. And we'll pass them along, Mar, and see what we can do. Did you send us a copy of the application?
I do believe I did, but I will resend it.
That would be great if you could just
Absolutely.
put that fresh in my box. That would be great. And then we'll forward it and we'll see what we can do here.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thanks so much for coming. Anybody have
All
any
right.
questions?
Oh, yeah.
No?
Okay.
All right, thanks so much.
All right. Thanks again. Have a great night.
Take care. Well, I guess we know what number one on our capital and expense budget item request list is going to be for 2024, which is the next thing we have to tackle tonight. It's this thing we do every year for those of you who haven't been here, where we come up with a list of priorities for what our committee wants in terms of the upcoming budget. From year to year, it's been different things based on what we need in our community for our youth. The two big ones that stand out for me right now that we finally have our 5 schools open that this committee has advocated for over the last 12 years. We now have a safety crisis, and we also have a facilities crisis in terms of recreation for these schools now going up in office buildings. So, safety and facilities run hand in hand with the situation because they're being built in, the schools are being built in places that are not traditional school locations. They're being built in busy neighborhoods, in office buildings that weren't meant to have children in them. So in some ways, our challenges are understandable, but they did have 5 years at PS 150 and Trinity Place to get that right. And it's very discouraging that they didn't. And it was not a surprise that construction was running behind schedule, and no one wants to take responsibility for it. So I would vote that our number one is going to be school safety. And then I would like to suggest that we also include freestanding facilities if they cannot be built on site, i.e. gyms, common space, auditoriums. We can't graduate our children in any of our buildings. We have kids traveling from Millennium over to Park Slope to play basketball. $7 million was raised for the Millennium Gym. SCA never cited it. Money went away. No one can tell us where it went. This kind of thing has been dogging us now for my entire tenure since 2009 here. So I think that it's time for us to, if they can't build these things in the school building, I think it's time for them to innovate, building them off-site and having our gyms be more of a beacon that, several schools can use in the community. I think that's going to be essential. Otherwise, what worried me was that we had this way of thinking at our last SCA meeting that they actually had thought about what they were going to say to us as they were telling us there wasn't going to be a full-size gym at the Harbor School initially. And they said, we're so excited to tell you that we have what's now more flexible recreation space that we're going to be advocating for in our schools. They can be convertible dance spaces. They can be practice spaces for sports. They can be, this and I mean, she was pulling together lots of different language, insinuating that this was something we should be thrilled about. You've never had a dance space before. We're going to have dance spaces. Well, dance is all well and good. It doesn't replace a regulation gym. If we don't have regulation facilities, our children cannot play competitive sports. If they can't play competitive sports, the impact of the mental health, the physical health of our kids is considerable. And it also, I have to say that for some kids, it can not only keep them busy, keep them in school till 6 o'clock, but a lot of them end up getting scholarships that are desperately needed for high school and college. And, for us to just say goodbye to competitive sports in the city of New York because we can't figure out a way to build those facilities is, in my mind's eye, completely unacceptable. So those are my top two. I'm curious to hear what everybody else on the committee has to say.
Tricia,
Mm-hmm.
Bob. So I sent James and you and Lucian and Lucy a description of our project. I don't know if that was forwarded on to the members of the committee here.
I have not seen it.
Okay, it was sent twice to you, once to Lucian, and I'm sorry it was sent today.
Oh.
I could forward it on to the members of the committee, but I could also explain it in 15 seconds.
Why don't you do that, Bob? Because if it was sent today, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. I don't have everybody's email in a distribution group, but I will send it. But basically, and you talk about gyms, I've probably been the advocate for gyms longer than a long time. Right now, the community center has kids playing basketball downstairs in our community center. The Schiller project is the replacement of our HVAC chillers. For anyone that knows what that is, they're expensive, big things that cool the building. And they were destroyed in Hurricane Sandy, and they are at their shelf life. And the project will be $1.8 million. We have had very successful conversations with all the elected officials to get them to give us capital monies. We have $500,000 committed from EDC, from Margaret Chin years ago, $655,000 from Gail Brewer. Deborah Glick has requested $500,000 from the state, and Yulee New has requested $250,000. Those are just requests. I've discussed it with Chris Marte. Him and the borough president, partner on these things, and they seem very open to getting us $500,000 in FY23. It's a long project. It would be good to be placed on the list of the community board list because it's essential. I'll just give it a little aside. All of our repairs, pumps that cost $25,000, pool packs that cost $400,000, are done from our. We pay for them. We will never be able to raise $1.8 million in non-governmental funds. So we have to rely on capital expenditures from the government. And that is why we're requesting that this capital project be included in your list. And I guess I could take any questions. I'm an expert on HVAC systems.
I just read through it as you were talking as well.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Bob?
Anybody know how to fix a chiller? Sort of. They're huge pieces of equipment.
I would vote to add it for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's the implication if you don't raise the funds?
That's a great question. And I frankly don't know if we don't raise the funds, it's either this summer or the next summer, according to our engineers. And we have drawings on it. You know, we have shop drawings on it. We paid $40,000 for them. They say that there's a limit how long you could jerry rig these old chillers.
Yeah, I mean,
So that's the answer.
honestly, I wasn't asking a rhetorical question. If
Yeah,
the
no.
impact is disruption of service of the community center to members of our community, I mean, I can't think of a higher priority community asset. I mean, that's at the top of the list.
You know, I'm a can-do guy, so I never think of it being the termination of services, but it could lead to the termination of services. The building could easily go to 100 degrees in the summer without a chilling system. And we've had that happen, but we get it back online. Yes. So it would be termination of services. And we really need it.
Yeah, again, I point to the community center as just an anchor resource for activities for families and other residents. So that would seem to me to be pretty key.
And, the community board is what started the community center. We don't have the same juice when you go to a DOE and ask for a gym, let's say, as we did. We just don't have that same political juice as some of these other capital projects. Of course, school safety crossing guards. I don't think that's a capital item, but we've been trying for that for a long time. That's I would say that's very important also, because you don't want anyone getting hurt. I'd rather be hot than hurt. But yes, thank you, Andrew. But we need your support, and I think the elected officials also agree with us. I would just say this: we're talking about a different capital funding from the city of New York is such a larger pot than Deborah Glick, Yulee New, and Margaret Chin have. It's such a larger pot that the city of New York can give. We're not, I don't know the mayor, but he's not going to be allocating capital funds to us. So we need our elected officials and our community board to support us. And I could pass this on tomorrow for everybody to see.
Yeah, well, I'll have the office send it out, Bob, but I
Okay.
think it's a no-brainer. I'm with Andrew. I think there is, no higher priority for our community than the center. So
Thank you.
So we have 3 items. Does anybody else think we should have any more?
Yes, we do have Justine wanted to say something.
Uh-huh.
Justine, are you unmuted? Oh. Is she not here anymore? Is there anyone else who would like to go? Eric?
Yeah, hi. This relates to when the previous speaker was talking about the request to close the street for New and Beaver Street. I just want to mention, was it considered to also put out a temporary speed bump in lieu of closing the street with a crossing guard? Has that been considered? If you have so much if you have so much resistance from anti-terrorism or the police, maybe that would be a compromise.
So 2 things. It's a great question. 2 things is that getting a speed bump in the city of New York is almost as hard as getting a traffic light in the city of New York. It has a myriad of criteria that have to be met in order to do it. And in that particular location, there are too many what they call curb cuts for that to be a possibility. It's also at the edge of the street, which they can never be put at. So in other words, our problem is that cars are making this sharp right and left into New Street when the kids are navigating on these narrow sidewalks. So it's just cars in general in that area that is really the problem. If it were possible to put a speed bump on Beaver Street, just to slow the traffic down in general coming across Beaver Street, that would be a good idea. It would prevent that guy from going 60 miles an hour like he did the other day. Honestly, though, it's very unusual for traffic to be moving fast there because there's always so much traffic. And so it's certainly something we can explore, but the reason I was smiling is because it took us 3 years to get a speed bump over in front of Millennium High School, right down the street from there. And so it's just a really difficult thing to do in terms of where this particular school and problem is located.
I work in the area, so I'm very familiar with the who's walking around there, the trucks, and I'm as a pedestrian, I could see that it's very difficult for. I mean, there's a lot of traffic. I mean, everything is one lane in each. It's just one lane streets, and all it takes is one obstruction to create a delay. So I mean, it really should be up to terrorism to say why they're against it, but it's just very difficult for traffic to flow and also with deliveries. But yeah, anything to slow down the traffic, and I think the traffic guards would make a big difference. Just their presence slows down drivers. Yeah.
Agreed. We just have had such difficulty with traffic agents. And, while that's the ideal solution, when I see that graduating class sent us none, I hope that where they went was an emergency, because I don't know what could have been more in need than the schools in Lower Manhattan with all these tricky streets that we have here. I don't understand it, but I am going to look into it. Morton?
Yes, I had the opportunity at PS 150 to talk with her name is Angela, who is going to speak in a couple of weeks, and we were chatting about that, and she was saying that I think somebody mentioned it before about the pay rate. Marv Fitzgerald mentioned it about the pay rate for crossing guards, and that it's very difficult to get crossing guards who may live in the outer boroughs to come to Manhattan because most of them look at it as a part-time job. It's expensive to travel back and forth to Manhattan. It's expensive to eat lunch in Manhattan. It costs a lot of money to get a sandwich at the local delis or whatever. restaurants and so forth. So she told us out in the street on the one day she came that it's very difficult to get the crossing guards who do qualify, do the training and so forth, to agree to come to Manhattan. Now she's from Manhattan, so she was splitting the time. I think she was at the it was either PS 89 or 276. I forget where she was, and she came for a couple of days until we got the traffic agents. And they've been doing recruiting outside of our school to try to get local people to sign up for the duty. But part of the problem is they're paying $15 an hour, and it's a part-time job, and it's very difficult to get, according to her, and I can see why. And Mar doubled, and said the same thing. It's difficult to get people to take the job and come to Manhattan. So
that's why we passed a resolution to get full-time guards, make it a full-time position with benefits. You can work at Starbucks, for $20 an hour with benefits part-time. So why would anybody take this job standing out in the freezing cold? I think this is part of the problem we have with the city of New York.
You're not going to get an argument from me on that.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't, they rather say that that's the problem over and over again instead of solving the problem. And Mayor de Blasio agreed to hire 200 full-time guards and 100 more part-time guards. And it was the first time it was going to be a full-time position. There are plenty of things that they can do on the school level during the hours they're not needed to direct traffic. And we don't know what happened to them. We've asked them 6 or 7 times and we haven't gotten an answer, but there were supposed to be full-time guards, and it is the solution. We can recruit at the local level, but then you have a really transient community. It's going to be likely to be school students on breaks and people that come and go, as opposed to someone stable. It used to be that it was a great job for people to have, even retirees would do it. But we just don't have many retirees here anymore. The fabric of Lower Manhattan has changed so much. It's gotten so much more expensive here. And so our demographic has shifted, and now we find ourselves in this crisis. And I think it's time for the city to understand this on a deeper level and just make some solid decisions before someone's killed. And so we've been putting pressure on them over these crossing guards, as Wendy can tell you. I mean, this is what, year 10 that we've been talking about crossing guards. I mean, it's impossible. Every year we have them, they come, oops, she went out sick, can't get a replacement, she's on maternity, and no one ever comes again. And no one's overseeing it. So it's a very point of a huge frustration for us. And so I want to, we wrote some pretty strong letters to Lorraine Grollo, who's now the deputy mayor representing youth, which is great. She used to be head of the SCA. She's always been a tremendous advocate for us. She's gotten a lot of things done for us. And so I wrote a very long letter about it to see what we might be able to do from the mayor's office. Because I sense that that's what it's going to take. We've never had much luck at the local precinct office because they don't have the power to spend. And they really don't have the ability to manage. It's just not something they're set up to do there. They don't have the funding and they don't have the manpower. And then, one thing happens, one event in the neighborhood and they pull all the people back in and off site. So it's multifaceted, incredibly complicated, and we will still be chasing it because it's so important. So I'm happy that that's on our list, and I'm going to get specific. And if any of you want to, if you think of other things after we get off this call and you want to send them to me, please do. Any specific things regarding safety or both inside and outside the school. You'll remember that we had called out the fact that in some schools, the school guards are not between the front door and the elevators and stairs to the school itself. And we requested that those safety agents be placed closer to the front door so they could see someone coming in. who might be problematic. The situation at LMC actually is the thing that prompted that, because you walk in their door and the elevators are right there. And the safety agents are way in the back of that lobby. And we had, you know, some situations at PS 8 or IS 89 where that event was with the guy who drove down the greenway and killed those bicyclists. And he was running around right in front of the school and could have easily run into that school. So I don't know if we have solid safety plans in place for all of our schools, but that's worth a review as well and a walkthrough. So I think that's pretty urgent, our safety concerns here. All three of our items are urgent. So it's okay just to have three, if that's what we want to do. Does anybody else have any ideas or additional things they want to say about our three items? Nothing?
I was just gonna say, you know, I know some of the schools put cameras outside and they're very expensive. So if we could put that on the list, I'm not sure how many more schools need to be covered. But I think we're finding that cameras are very effective.
Yes. Thank you, Wendy. I will put that in the category. Anybody else have any thoughts? Experiences? All right, great. Well, I'll draft it up. I'm not going to send it in tonight. So if anything dawns on any of you that you want to add, I'm happy to do that. And as long as we have it in before a full board, so they can present it after that. I really hope to have these SCA drawings for the Harbor School. They haven't released them yet, even though they presented them to us at the meeting. And, you know, they gave us such great news that I don't want to press them, but I'm hoping to get them soon. They tell us that they're refining the drawings. So they have told us that 2025 is the goal for having all the construction done on the conversion of the building 555 to the classrooms and the gym and the pool. And the gym and the pool we did also confirm it will be available to other schools in the community to use, which is great. They presently have, this is worth saying in a public meeting, just like all schools, when they suddenly have like facilities, they are challenged as they build those sports teams out to be able to afford those coaches. As you know, in our schools, especially for high schools, our sports are clubs, and then they have a competitive branch of that club that turns into the track team. But the schools can often have a hard time coming up with the money for a coach. They often teach Spanish and history, for instance, and track and field. And so for the Harbor School, this is going to be a huge challenge for them, and they would like to be able to entertain the idea of a swim team now that they have a competition swim pool there. So they will be looking for a part-time athletic coaches there in the short term until they can figure out how to staff it. And we also want to advocate for that for them. Same with their basketball and volleyball. But that's going to be great for our community to have another full-size high school regulation gym. I mean, it's not like it's down the street, but at least it's, you know, not Riverside Park.
Along those lines, maybe we need to make sure, and I think Governor's Island is taking care of it, is just that the number of ferries continues to be adequate.
Yes. That is definitely part of the plan. Thank you, Wendy. Anyway, so I hope to have this next month. And thank you all for coming. We'll see you at full board, and I'll get going on those.
If I could ask a question.
Yep.
Is the next,
And we also have a hand raised
is the
after
next
you, Bob.
full
Okay, thanks for
board
letting me
meeting
know.
in person or remote?
Say that again, Bob?
Is the next full board meeting in person or is it remote?
I believe it's in person. They need a quorum at that meeting.
So it's in person on the 19th floor of the borough president. Does anybody know that?
Yes, as of right now, that is the plan. Yes. We will need, quorum will need to be in person.
And will you, I don't want to go off track too much, but I think it's important. Will the board office limit the amount of people to know, like, I'm all in. I'm tired of being on this computer. I'm all in. But I would prefer not to be in a room with 50 people. I still socially
It's
distance.
going to be hybrid. It's going to be hybrid.
No.
So quorum is required to be in person.
No, I understand that, but quorum is 26 people. And I'm wondering if we have a way of limiting the room so we're not breathing on each
Overcapacity.
other.
Got it. Yes, we will be discussing ways to mitigate that.
If you can
as
get,
we
in
set
other
the
words,
date.
may I make a suggestion? If you can get 30 commitments, you only need, I think, 25 for a quorum or 26, plus you got staff. If 30 people say, I'm coming, you could allow the other two, maybe there could be some coordination. So people that prefer to be remote can be remote and we don't overcrowd that room until we're sure that, the space involved. And I would just put on the agenda, if you need, I could get you the schools at night. I don't think there's where it's a much bigger room. And I would be willing to work on getting for future meetings, the community center, but it's too small for the general meeting. It still wouldn't be socially distant, but school auditoriums would be socially distant and people, unless could stay socially distant. I think that's still important now.
Thank you,
So I could
Bob.
get that.
For that recommendation, I would suggest that you send that directly, make that suggestion directly to Tammy. That's something that you would have, that
All right, you
should be
said you were
discussed with
discussing
Tammy.
it.
Yeah, but for
I got
that
it.
recommendation offsite, please discuss that with Tammy directly.
I'll send it out.
Yeah, all right, great. Yes, we do have another hand. Desi, go ahead. Can you unmute? There we go. Desi?
Yes, hello. Can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
So first I put it in the chat, but I wasn't sure if anybody saw it in terms of teams. Was wondering if there was any possibility of partnering with some of our professional sports leagues in the city that could either tap us into a network of, coaches. Maybe they fund a coach. Maybe they could either fund the coach or participate in some way as a partnership with the school to, provide the kind of funds we would need to have, some professional staff to work with the students. I'm throwing that out there. And also, I can talk with Metropolitan College of New York. We have a pretty spacious conference area on our first floor.
That's
And
great.
the possibility for us to meet. So throwing
Thank
those.
you for that, Desi. Appreciate it.
We've met there before. That's great.
Yeah, it's
And
pretty.
to your question about, I like that idea about, vetting them from that source. I think, onboarding anybody at a school, we found this at our daughter's high school. We actually had a coach from a professional team willing to give his time. And the process of onboarding him into the DOE system completely shut him down. It was like, I didn't understand what was involved. And they basically have to be vetted the same way a school teacher does. And I think for some of them, that can be rather daunting. But I think it is a good idea. And of course, it has to be, the other concern there always is equity. You know, if one school seems to have like a coach and another school doesn't have access to something like that, then you have the problem of equity. So we just have to be mindful of those things, but I love thinking outside the box, and, you know, it could be worth thinking more about to see if it can be done on a broad scale level, at least, you know, the idea of it, because we do need to start thinking outside the box with sports here. I mean, it's what we have isn't working so well with 3 out of 9 schools having a gym. So, you
Yeah,
know,
we're
yeah.
talking about teams with an exorbitant amount of money, and they do many philanthropic, you know, things. You know, this might be some way for them to have even something like a residency, you know, in some way that makes it really appealing for them to feel like they're doing good in the community.
Yeah, it's possible. Morton?
Yeah, I can't make any promises, but I used to play every Sunday morning. I used to play basketball with a bunch of guys, and one of our guys was a pretty high official in the NBA, and such the extent that we played at his 50th birthday in Florida Madison Square Garden. So I can make some inquiries to see if the NBA has something, and I can let you know at the next at the next meeting. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see if they have, you know, what kind of work they do along those lines. But taking on the New York City school system, of course, is going to be a different level. But I think, again, it's like, I think it's really good to start thinking that way, because what we have isn't working so well. And it's still the haves and have-nots. The
Hmm.
larger schools have stronger teams because they get paid by the student.
Yeah,
And I think that's, you know, so we already have inequity. What can we do to help even things out within the realm of equity?
I
So,
think that's part of the pitch, you know, to say that we want to level a playing field and we want to create equity. So many of the reasons that marginalized students don't have the opportunities is because they go to underfunded schools. And so this would be a really great way to be able to level the playing field, and we can tap into all of the, you know, 2020 Black Lives Matter, creating equity, DEI. You know, let's not let that fall by the wayside.
no, for sure. So let's definitely keep that thought alive, and I'll keep it on the agenda. And
Great.
we can all poke into our corners and see what we can find out by next month. But thanks for bringing it up.
Surely.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for coming. I'll look for your comments if you have any more on our budget and priorities, and otherwise I will see you all at the full board.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.